So let me give you some context here. The world is in the early stages of what could be the biggest electricity demand surge in a generation, and it's being driven by artificial intelligence. Data centers powering AI consume up to 33 times more electricity than traditional computing. That's a mind-boggling number. And here's the thing. The famous tech giants that we always talk about, Microsoft, Google, Meta, and Amazon, are planning to spend over $320 billion on AI infrastructure in 2025. And I might be thinking, Charlie, what does this have to do with uranium? Well, here's the connection. These tech companies need 24/7 base load power. Solar and wind are intermediate. So what are they doing? They're going nuclear. Microsoft signed a $16 billion 20-year deal with Constellation Energy for nuclear power. Meta locked in a 20-year nuclear agreement. Google has secured over 2.5 gigawatts of nuclear capacity. And it's not just big tech. On May 23rd, 2025, President Trump signed executive orders declaring nuclear energy a national security priority and calling to quadruple U.S. nuclear supply to 400 gigawatts by 2050. That would require 2.5 times more uranium than today's entire global supply. So here's the problem, and here's where it gets really, really interesting. The world doesn't have enough uranium production to meet this demand. The U.S. Energy Information Administration is warning of a cumulative uranium supply gap of 184 million pounds over the next decade, and the World Nuclear Association just said the timeline to develop new mines has actually gotten longer. We're talking 10 to 20 years to bring significant new supply online. So the industry is stuck in the supply crunch. Demand is exploding from AI, from nuclear expansion, from government mandates, but production, it can't keep up. That's the setup, and that's exactly where Foremost Clean Energy is coming in. Foremost is a uranium exploration company with 10 properties spanning over 330,000 acres in the Athabasca Basin in North Saskatchewan, Canada. So why does that matter? Well, because the Athabasca Basin is known to host some of the highest grade uranium deposits in the world. We're talking grades that are 10x to 100x higher than the global average. The region produces about 15% of the world's primary uranium supply, and Saskatchewan was ranked the number 3 most attractive mining jurisdiction in the world by the Fraser Institute. This is a proven mining district with over 40 years of uranium production capacity. There are 7 projects with historical drilling, identified conductors, and drill-ready targets, including Murphy Lake South, Hatchet Lake, Turkey Lake, Torwalt Lake, Martin, Wolverine, and Epp Lake. And then there's the Blue Sky Properties, 3 earlier stage projects covering approximately 251,000 acres in a virtually unexplored portion of the basin, including Blackwing, CLK, and GR. And then you've got a secondary lithium portfolio, 5 Canadian lithium projects spanning 55,000 acres in Manitoba, with an established inferred resource at their Zoro project. Now, here's something a lot of people miss when they first look at Foremost. Yeah, uranium is the headline, but they also have the secondary portfolio of lithium projects that provides additional opportunity. The company is also fully funded with $6.5 million budgeted for their 2025 exploration program. They just completed a 2,400 meter drill program at Hatchet Lake with assay results showing grades of 0.87%, 0.0308, which was a significant increase from preliminary estimates. And they completed a 2,695 meter program at Murphy Lake South with strong hydrothermal alteration and elevated radioactivities. They just received a 3-year exploration permit for Turkey Lake, valid through December 2028, and their plan and drill programs for 2026. So what are the key drivers for this company? Well, AI data center demand. Tech giants spending $320 billion plus on AI infrastructure need 24/7 nuclear baseload power, driving unprecedented uranium demand. Trump's executive orders declaring nuclear a national security priority and targeting 4x capacity expansion by 2050 is going to create a lot of demand for nuclear across North America. Supply deficit, 184 million pound projected uranium shortfall over the next decade, with new mine development taking 10 to 20 years. You have the Russian uranium ban. There's a ban taking effect by 2028, intensifying the need for Western aligned uranium supply. You have the global nuclear expansion, COP28 pledge to triple nuclear capacity by 2050 with 30 plus nations committed. And then of course you have the overall critical minerals push. The US Department of Defense and JP Morgan both announced major initiatives to secure domestic critical mineral supply chains. So right now, quite frankly, we're seeing a massive convergence of demand drivers that uranium hasn't experienced in decades. You've got AI creating a new source of electricity demand that didn't exist 5 years ago. You've got governments around the world making nuclear commitments for climate and energy security reasons. You've got geopolitical shifts cutting off Russian supply, and you've got a structural production deficit that can't be fixed quickly because mines take like 10 to 20 years to develop. There's a massive shortage of uranium, and Foremost is positioning itself to potentially help fill that gap if their exploration programs are indeed successful. And remember, this isn't just about uranium for Foremost. Their lithium portfolio in Manitoba sits near existing infrastructure, including highway, grid power, and railway. And so that's also very important. Now I always say make sure you're doing your own due diligence, and this company is no exception. Foremost is still still an exploration stage company. They're pre-revenue. They haven't established a commercial deposit yet. The stock is in small cap territory, which means volatility. But overall, the story with Foremost Clean Energy is such. They've got 330,000 acres in the world's premier uranium jurisdiction. They've got a Canadian $3.6 billion strategic partner in Denison Mines, providing technical support and broad level guidance. They've got multiple drill programs delivering results with more catalysts on the horizon. They've got lithium and gold optionality, providing diversification, and they're positioned to potentially benefit from what could be the biggest uranium demand in decades.